But we're going to be talking about Abram. And that brings us to point one, or key one, of changing our point of view. What it says is, stop viewing your circumstances and start viewing God's promises. That's what shapes your point of view. If you're viewing your circumstances and not viewing God's promise, you're not going to have a very good point of view. Amen? So let's look at that. Let's look at Genesis 15:1. It says, afterwards, Jehovah spoke to Abram in a vision, and this is what he told him. Don't be fearful, Abram, for I will defend you, and I will give you great blessings. One translation says, your reward will be very great. How good is that? How many of you would love to have God step down and say, I'm going to greatly bless you, and I'm going to defend you. I'm going to protect you, I'm going to watch over you, and I am going to bless you, and your reward will be very great. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yes. Let me tell you, he did. Amen? You just need to believe it. Verse 2, but Abram replied, O Lord, let's look back at Abram again. Genesis 17:1 through 5. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to him and told him, I am the Almighty, obey me and live as you should. I will prepare a contract between us, guaranteeing to make you into a mighty nation. In fact, you shall be the father of not only one nation, but a multitude of nations. Abram fell downward into the dust as God talked with him. What's more, God told him, I am changing your name. It is no longer Abram, exalted father, but Abraham, father of nations. For this is what you will be. I have declared it. Church, let me tell you, when God declares something, it happens. When God speaks something, it happens. Amen? God, you know what? When God was telling him that you were going to be the father of many nations, that you're going to be called Abraham, the father of nations, he didn't have any kids. He didn't have any children at the time. But God was telling him, when you look in the mirror, when you see yourself, I don't want you to see yourself how you are today. I want you to see yourself how I've called you to be in the future. I want you to look there and call yourself Abraham, the father of nations, even though you don't have any kids. Even though you have no descendants, even though it sounds stupid to say that you're the father of nations when you don't even have a kid. But God needed him to see himself differently before he could use him. God needed him to call himself what he was going to be before it could happen. And it's the same thing with changing our point of view this morning. If we want to change this city, if we want to change this county and this state and this country and this nation, country and nation, same thing, and change the world, we got to first see ourselves differently. We first have to see ourselves doing what God has called us to do before we can do it. We're not going to be able to change the world until we change the way we see ourselves. Amen? So this morning, my desire is that you would step outside your tent. That you would no longer live a defeated life, only looking at your circumstances, only looking at what's around you and look out and see God's promises. See what he's promised you, what he's given you, what he's called you to do, and the road and the path that he's called you to walk. And while you're doing it, look at yourself differently. Look at yourself as somebody who's going to make it, as somebody who is going to fulfill the promise of God. Not somebody who's fallen in the past, not somebody who's made mistakes, not somebody who's tripped, but as somebody who is going to walk towards the stars and walk towards the promise and the destiny that God has given him.